Part 90. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi-Sing Cao. Chapter 893. 891. Everyone looked at Huo Yingzhe with some confusion. Yingzhe, why do you say this? Huo Zheqian asked. It's not worth it for us to exchange your safety for official status. Our Huo family has only a small number of people, and life safety is the most important thing. Yes, second brother, you can't do stupid things, Huo Yingzhen said. We work hard and it's our duty to serve the Guo family, but when it comes to life, we can't be careless. My father has a second uncle, and the two brothers support each other. Among the third generation, he and Huo Yingzhe were the only two brothers. If Huo Yingzhe gets into trouble, Huo Yingzhen will feel helpless in the future. Mr. Huo did not speak, but looked steadily at Huo Yingzhe. Huo Yingzhe smiled and explained, in the past, my research was known to be very good and my abilities were very certain, but because I was young and I wanted to get more power, I could only climb up slowly step by step. But precisely because of the intervention of foreign forces, the higher UPS knew how precious I was, so I was able to save a lot of steps and get greater rights directly. The big boss personally told me that he would build a state-of-the-art laboratory for me, in addition to sending someone there. I am responsible for all the daily management and scientific research matters, and I am truly Chief Engineer Huo. General Manager Huo Yingzhen was surprised. This title is more impressive. Mr. Huo seemed to understand, nodded, and said, Yingzhe is right, Yingzhe is a blessing in disguise. The military industry is different from the relationship between master and apprentice. No matter who comes to power, the country needs the backing of the country's most important weapons. Yingzhe will become a part of the military. A new star to make up for our family's lack of influence in the military. That's it, several people suddenly realized. Yingzhe, you're doing a great job, Huo Zheqian praised. No wonder when my direct boss was chatting with me, the topic of Yingzhe and my second brother came unconsciously. It turned out that he was interested in two potential stocks in our family. Haha, who says it's not the case, Huo Yingzhen said, they often talk about it. Huo Zheqian smiled and said, brother, you are so handsome. You are also honored. Haha, my two sons and grandson are both very good, Mr. Huo said with a smile. Whoever mentions our Huo family now does not give a thumbs up. If you work hard and help each other, you can all reach a higher level in the future. If brothers are fighting each other and killing each other without anyone else doing it, how can we talk about progress and getting to the next level? Yes, father. Yes, grandpa. After that, father, son, grandfather and grandson continued to chat. Zhang Lifang and He Tiantian were accompanying their mother-in-law and grandmother talking below. The nannies were in the kitchen preparing dinner, and the children were all playing in the backyard. After a while, Zhao Huan got off work and saw her second aunt back, and they exchanged greetings again. After Zhao Huan changed into home clothes, she came down from the second floor. He Tiantian took out two large brown paper bags from the big bag on the side. There was a bulging account book inside, and said, Auntie, this is this year's account book. Take a look at it. If there is no problem, just press your fingerprints and I will give you the dividends from the 6 months since I opened the store. Song Chunli has been thinking about this matter since He Tiantian appeared. Seeing He Tiantian say, she was ecstatic, but a little worried. What if there is only a little bit? Hey, I'm a little nervous. He Tiantian first handed the account book to Song Chunli. Song Chunli actually couldn't understand it, so she turned to the last page and saw the general ledger, which was only 8,009, and she was a little disappointed. It will take several years to transfer the capital. Seeing that Song Chunli's face was not good looking, He Tiantian was a little surprised. Did the eldest aunt think that the share of 89,000 was too small? After Song Chunli finished reading, she handed the elder to Zhao Huan. Zhao Huan looked directly at the price on the last page, which was straightforward enough. Oh my god, Zhao Huan's eyes widened. Tian, you won't give us all the profits, right? So much. Song Chunli was angry. Zhao Huan, a shallow-eyed person with only 8,099, said too much. Tian smiled and said, no, for 10% of the shares, you can get 89,000. If we open this year, there are still many imperfections. Next year, I will continue to work hard and strive to give more dividends to my aunt and sister-in-law. How much? Song Chunli asked sharply. 89,000. Zhao Huan looked a little embarrassed. Her mother-in-law was too greedy. 10% of the shares were allocated to 89,000. Isn't that too little? Yes, 89,000. Zhao Huan said, Mom, if you can get 89,000, I can get it too. Tian, wait a minute. I'll bring a pen and inkstone over here. I'll sign and press handprints. Song Chunli was stunned for a moment, then took the elder over to look at it again, counted the numbers on it, and said in surprise, it's really 89,000. I'm so old that I think it's 8,009. Song Chunli changed quickly and showed no embarrassment at all. Zhang Lifang and Tian looked at each other and smiled, and said, Sister-in-law, you may have misread the dense numbers in the account book. That's normal. I feel dizzy after reading it. Who says it isn't? Song Chunli was very happy. It had only been half a year, and not only had the capital been recovered, but there was also a lot of profit. 89,000 for half a year, that's 200,000 for 1 year. This is still 10%. Tian holds 80% of the shares. Isn't it more? Thinking of this, Song Chunli felt a little unhappy, but thinking about it, it was all for nothing. If she was still not satisfied, everyone in the family would probably complain about her. Forget it, we have a lot of money, so we can't be too greedy. Mrs. Huo was also very happy. In this way, the eldest son's family would at least not do something inappropriate because of money. Zhao Huan took the pen and ink, signed his name, and pressed his handprint. Song Chunli also signed and pressed her handprint. Tian gave the super large craft paper bag containing 89,000 yuan to Song Chunli and Zhao Huan respectively. Song Chunli was very happy and smiled, saying, Lifang, Tian, you guys chat first, I will send the money first, and then I will cook something delicious for your mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Don't bother the eldest sister-in-law. Zhang Lifang smiled. This eldest sister-in-law is actually quite interesting. No trouble, we are all family. Song Chunli walked briskly and went upstairs quickly. Zhao Huan's face was a little red, and she was also very excited. She smiled and said, thank you, second aunt, thank you, second brother and sister-in-law. You're welcome. Tian smiled, we can make money together. Zhao Huan understood that this was the second house trying to pull the first house. She didn't say it, but she knew it in her heart. Then I'll send the money up first, and then come over to talk to my second aunt and my second brother's wife. Zhao Huan said with a smile. Go ahead. Zhang Lifang smiled. Zhao Huan then turned around and went upstairs, her heart burning. When she returned to the room, she wanted to count the money, but she thought that her second aunt and her second brother's wife were downstairs and would not cheat her, so she put the money away and hurried downstairs. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 894. 892. When Zhao Huan returned to the house, she originally wanted to count the money, but thinking that her second aunt and second younger siblings were down there and would not lie to her, she put the money away and hurried down. You can't count money on the top. If you leave someone below, they will immediately guess that you are counting money. Zhao Huan came down and saw that her mother-in-law had not come down. Thinking about how hot her face was, luckily she came down, otherwise she would have been laughed at by her second aunt and her second brother and sister. Thank you, Tian Tian Zhao Huan said, I never thought I could make so much money. I have never had so much money. Haha, business is not bad, he Tian Tian said, I hope the money can help my sister-in-law and brother improve their lives and make their career smoother. Zhao Huan was even more grateful after hearing this. Zhang Lifang smiled and said, we are all a family, don't talk about this. As long as we have enough money, we should work hard and live a good life. That is the most important thing. Yes, sister-in-law, I think so too, he Tian Tian said, this was also her starting point. Mrs. Huo nodded repeatedly and said, it's good if you can think of it this way. Let's talk about other interesting things. 3 generations of mother-in-law and daughter-in-law started gossiping. After a while, Song Chunli came down from upstairs, smiling and light on his feet. Second brother and sister, Tian Tian, you sit down while I go to the kitchen to get some more dishes. I'm going to cook a few dishes properly. I also have a bottle of good wine. Let's have a few glasses tonight, Song Chunli said hurriedly. He was worshipped as the god of wealth. Now he Tian Tian is Song Chunli's god of wealth. There were really 89,000 in that big brown paper bag. Oh my gosh, so much money. If no one else was there, Song Chunli would really want to snatch the bag from Zhao Huan's hand. Even if he is not greedy for Zhao Huan's money, he still wants to enjoy counting money. Thank you for your hard work, Auntie, he Tian Tian said with a smile. She likes money, but she is afraid that those who take her money will say something bad about her. Zhang Lifang and he Tian Tian have the same thoughts. Song Chunli came to the kitchen and helped cook together. In the evening, there was a table for men and a table for women and children. Song Chunli really took out the wine, and the girls all drank some. He Tian Tian thought she needed to drive, so she just took a sip and didn't dare to continue drinking. After dinner, everyone was in the living room, chatting and enjoying the atmosphere. After 9 o'clock, Huo Jekan and Zhang Lifang said goodbye and left. Alas, the second bedroom has already set up a courtyard, so naturally I have no intention of staying here any longer. Mr. Huo didn't feel anything, but Mrs. Huo was always a little disappointed, but she kept it hidden in her heart. At home, he Tian Tian first covered the child tightly and carried her to the bed, then sent Grandma Wang into the room, and finally helped Huo Yingja back to the room. I said goodbye to my father-in-law and mother-in-law before going into the house to rest. Oh, it feels good to be home, he Tian Tian said with emotion, I'm used to living here, and I don't want to go anywhere. That's natural, otherwise there wouldn't be a kennel as good as your own, Huo Yingja said, no place is as comfortable as your own home. Well, yes, he Tian Tian said, okay, let's rest. A little tired today, he Tian Tian fell asleep quickly. Huo Yingja got a lot of news from his uncle, father, grandfather, and eldest brother today. He slowly digested it, looked for what was good for him, and analyzed what was bad for him. It wasn't until late at night that I slowly fell asleep. The next morning, after breakfast, I accompanied Zhang Lifang back to her parents' home. Another day of eating and drinking. It was already 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon when I got home. While there was still some time, he Tian Tian went to Zhou Yuanchao's home again to visit Wang Ying. Zhou Yuanchao recovered well, but after all, he was seriously injured at the beginning, so he couldn't go home for the new year yet. Wang Ying, if you still need something at home, just tell me and I'll get it for you, he Tian Tian said while peeling the apple, don't be polite to me. Wang Ying smiled and said, sister-in-law, you helped buy everything at home, and the work provided it, which is more than enough. My father-in-law has also gone back, and my mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and I can't eat that much. That's good, he Tian Tian said, if you want to go to the hospital, don't ride a bicycle by yourself. You can ask your sister-in-law to come to my house and tell me, and I will drive you there. If I don't have time, I can let the police bodyguard drive you. Okay, I won't be polite to my sister-in-law, Wang Ying said with a smile. She didn't dare to joke about the child in her belly. Now the family lives in two small courtyards near Maohutong, not far from the eldest family. My sister-in-law also knows that the round trip to the boss's house only takes 10 minutes. Wang Ying was extremely lucky that there was still He Tianatian's family in Yanjing, otherwise her family would have been very miserable. It's almost 5 o'clock, and it's time for He Tiantian to go home. Okay, let's not talk anymore. Take care of yourself. I'm going back. He Tiantian smiled and said, the road outside is slippery, so don't come out. Originally, He Tiantian wanted to talk about cosmetics, but thinking that Huo Yingjia's formula had not yet been released, He Tiantian suppressed it for the time being and did not talk to Wang Ying. When everything is ready, talk to Wang Ying. If she is willing to do it, let her also participate in the stock or manage it. Sister-in-law, be careful on the road. Wang Ying stood at the door while her mother-in-law Yan Kui sent He Tiantian to the door. It was gray outside, and He Tiantian walked home. Today is the 29th of the 12th lunar month, and tomorrow is New Year's Eve. Everything in He Tianatian's house was ready. On the morning of her 30th, He Tiantian took out the red paper, cut it, and took it to the front yard to ask Huo Jekan to write a couplet. There are many doors in the house, and it took Huo Jekan more than half an hour to finish. After that, He Tiantian took the children to put up peach charms and spring festival couplets. 2 modern red lanterns were hung at the entrance and behind. Huo Yingjia looked at it with greed. If he hadn't broken his bones, these jobs should have been his. Now he could only watch. After doing this, the family went to the hospital to visit Zhou Yuanqiao. Seeing that Zhou Yuanqiao was in good spirits, everyone could finally celebrate the new year happily. When they returned home, Lao Guo and his wife had already prepared meals. After cooking this meal, He Tiantian gave Lao Guo and his wife a holiday until the 6th day of the new year, so that they could celebrate the new year at home. He Tiantian went to the room and took 2 red envelopes, each containing 10 unity cards. Uncle Guo, Aunt Guo, this is your New Year red envelope. Thank you for your hard work this year. He Tiantian smiled and said, after dinner later, you can have a holiday and come back to work on the 6th day of the Lunar New Year. They were very happy to get the red envelope, but also a little worried. Tiantian, during the Chinese New Year period, there are a lot of guests. Can you handle it all by yourself? Aunt Guo asked. How about this, if someone comes to visit, please let me know and I will come and help cook. Rebirth 80's counterattack plan. Let's take a look at Zhang Yuehua's steady and ruthless counterattack against her scumbag husband. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 895. 893. After working in the Huo family for more than half a year, the couple completely fell in love with the work here. They are all housework, they don't have to work night shifts, the wages are high, and the owners are kind and usually give them some things. The family has saved a lot of money one after another, and life is much better than before. They hope they can always work here. He Tiantian smiled and said, Aunt Guo, thank you for your kindness. You should also have a good rest these days and visit relatives. My mother-in-law, Grandma Wang and I can handle the things here. Seeing what He Tiantian said, Aunt Guo stopped insisting. Thank you, Tiantian. After dinner, we will pack up and go back. Aunt Guo said that the family can reunite for New Year's Eve in the evening. In the evening, Huo Jekan and Zhang Lifang took their juniors to celebrate the New Year at home for the first time. I felt a little excited and a little disappointed. Early the next morning, Two children came over to kowtow to their grandparents and received red envelopes. He Tian and Huo Yingzhe also got red envelopes, but as adults, they were not allowed to kowtow. After breakfast, the whole family went to the Huo family's old house to pay New Year's greetings. Mr. Huo and Ms. Huo have already prepared red envelopes, not only for children, but also for adults. At the same time, the younger generation also gave lucky money to the elderly one after another. This year Mr. Huo and Ms. Huo received a lot of money. Returned to my parents' home on the second day of the Lunar New Year. I went to visit Zhou Yuanchao on the third day of the Lunar New Year. Chinese New Year is just trivial busyness. On the sixth day of the Lunar New Year, Huo Zhekan and Zhang Lifang started to pack their luggage and prepare to return to Nanjing. When leaving, Zhang Lifang looked around at the furniture and furnishings around her, feeling very reluctant to part with them. "Okay, I'll be back at the end of the year anyway, don't be reluctant to leave." Huo Zhekan felt a little uncomfortable when he saw his wife like this, but when you are away, you can't do whatever you want. Sons are accompanied by daughters-in-law, and grandchildren and granddaughters are nurtured by sons and daughters-in-law. In the end, Huo Zhekan understood that the only one left by his side was his wife. He can't live without anyone but his wife. There is not only love in their youth, mutual support in middle age, but also mutual companionship in old age. Step by step, they are all together. Even if they all die 100 years later, they will be buried together. Zhang Lifang reluctantly said, "I really couldn't bear to leave. I didn't have my own house in Yanjing before, so I just left without any nostalgia. But now that we have it and we are getting older, we don't want to leave. It's already 1982, and we'll start assessing our results at the end of next year. Maybe we can go back to Yanjing by then." Huo Zhekan comforted his wife. In fact, he didn't know for sure, and he was afraid that he would have to go back to Yanjing by then. The next step is to become a frontier official somewhere, and then you have to float outside for a few years. "Well, that's good." Zhang Lifang smiled. "Anyway, we have our home here. No matter where we go, we will remember it and we can't run away. Don't be afraid." The couple encouraged each other, and He Tian personally drove them to the train station and watched them enter and leave. "Very disappointed, but we miss each other." Lao Guo and his wife went to work, and He Tian was completely free and finally able to enjoy a rare holiday. School has started, and He Tian needs to go to school 3 days a week. These 3 days have 2 classes in the morning and afternoon. For He Tian, it is very relaxing and she enjoys her current working status. Qi Xiaoyan came back from her hometown and brought many local specialties to He Tian. Also coming with Qi Xiaoyan were Qi Zhengan and Qi Zhenmin. "Oh, what a rare visitor," He Tian smiled. "You two, brother and sister, are very busy people. How come you have time to come to my house?" Qi Zhenmin hugged Huo Ruimin and kept kissing Huo Ruimin's little fleshy face. "We are mainly here to visit you, Ruwa, Ruimin, and brother-in-law. Secondly, we want to come to Yanjing to attract business," Qi Zhenmin said. "This matter is very important, and they must fire the first shot. Is your car ready for sale?" He Tianation's eyes lit up. "Sanfan Kiao, the fashion design studio, etc. all need cars. If you can buy a car at home, you don't have to spend a lot of money to buy one." "Yes," Qi Zhenmin said, "recruit someone with strong capabilities and relatively strong funds to cooperate. We are a car factory in Nanjing. We must visit the dock in Yanjing. Without cooperation with local people, it will be difficult to advance." "Oh, then you should work hard." He Tian smiled and said, "During your stay in Yanjing, you can stay at my house instead of staying in a hotel." Qi Zhengan was drinking tea. When he heard this, he said, "No, we have already booked a hotel. If we want to discuss business and receive guests later, it is more convenient to go outside." "But don't worry, I will always bother you," Qi Zhenmin said. "By the way, Sister Tian Tian, you have shares in the car company, so you have to do your best. After all, you are also from Yanjing. And you are still in the upper class. You are helping as a consultant. Is there anyone you can cooperate with? My shares, He Tian Tian was stunned, those belong to my grandmother. I didn't invest any money in your car company. You know, all I do is make small fuss, make money, and spend it, and I don't have any big business. Haha, Grandma Bai has said in the contract before that when the car is put into production, the shares will become yours. Qi Jianmin smiled, aren't you happy about such a good thing? Ah, He Tian Tian was stunned. That was a car company, worth tens of millions. Especially in US dollars. Stop it, anyway, you have 30% of the shares, my family has 40%, and Nanchi has 30% of the shares. We, brother and sister, have been busy in China, and the local government of Nanchi has also given me your support. It's about to be launched on the market, and you, the shareholder, will start to play a role. Qi Jianmin said, I know that Sister Tian Tian is a lucky star. With your help, we can get twice the result with half the effort this time. Haha, He Tian Tian smiled, you think too highly of me. In fact, I'm not that strong. Sister Tian Tian, be more confident. In my heart, you are King Kong Barbie, you are so awesome. Qi Jianmin said with a smile, whatever you want to do, you can always succeed. Sister Tian Tian, this is 30%. You know the shares and the money invested by Grandma Bai, but we won't talk about it. When the business is good, the annual dividends will depend on whether our cars can be sold. He Tian Tian was stunned for a moment when she was told, oh my god, so much money. Yes, even if you don't make much money in the future, you can't let your grandmother's fortune go to waste. Okay, I will also think of a way. He Tian Tian said, but the main thing is you. I can only assist, don't expect me to play a key role. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 896. 894. He Tian Tian is not good at this, but thinking about Qi Jianmin's words, it makes some sense. That was my grandmother's money, and it would become her money from now on. She had to contribute something in both public and private matters, and she couldn't let the money go in vain without contributing. Stop being modest, Qi Jianmin said, I believe in Sister Tian Tian. But I don't believe in myself. He Tian Tian cursed in her heart. Qi Zhengan is more dull than before. Although he smiles from time to time, he is more alienated from others. Qi Zhengan also wanted to talk, laugh, and have fun with everyone. Qi Jianmin felt sorry for his brother and was also worried about him, so he followed him. After all, Sister Tian Tian is here, and she is afraid that her brother will do something inappropriate. Thinking about what happened to his brother and Zhang Mengmeng, Qi Jianmin was also speechless. My brother still regards Zhang Mengmeng as Sister Tian Tian. Now the two had a big quarrel over this a few years ago and are having a cold war. Emotional matters are about purity between two people. She is an outsider and doesn't know much about the inside story. She doesn't know how to persuade him. Okay, let's not talk about these things. He Tian Tian smiled, let's eat first. By the way, did you bring a car this time? Since you want to attract investment, you must at least have samples, especially cars. Just tell others how good it is, and others can't hear it, you have to see it and touch it. Qi Jianmin nodded and said, it has been delivered. We sent employees here before and rented the warehouse. Now it is placed in the warehouse. After hearing this, He Tian Tian smiled and said, that's good. I have no classes the day after tomorrow and I want to go see you. By the way, don't forget to tell me your address. If you have time, you can pick me up at the hotel and we can go there together, Qi Jianmin said. Afterwards, at the dinner table, everyone was eating and talking because they were very familiar. The rules of eating without speaking and sleeping without speaking are temporarily put aside. In the afternoon, Huo Yingja and Qi Zhengan play chess together. Huo Yingja originally wanted to torture Qi Zhengan, but then he thought about it. This man was quite pitiful. If you don't get love, you can only settle for the next best thing. It's just that he thought too wonderfully. Secondly, I don't want to be with him anymore. The poor guy is pitiful, but Huo Yingja is too lazy to persuade Qi Zhengan. Although this person will have emotional difficulties in his early years, he will find a suitable partner after some hardships. Huo Yingja looked at Qi Zhengan with ulterior motives. Why didn't Qi Zhengan not slander Huo Yingja? Huo Yingja just met He Tiantian earlier, which was just good luck. If he, Qi Zhengan, met first, He Tiantian would be his wife now, and the twins would be his children. In the room, He Tiantian finally couldn't bear it anymore and asked cautiously, Zhengmin, is something wrong with your brother? He Tiantian understood that Qi Zhengan had some thoughts about her, but she was already married, and Qi Zhengan behaved very gentlemanly, so she thought Qi Zhengan had given up. Furthermore, Qi Zhengan is grandma's grandson, and she also hopes that Qi Zhengan will be well. Qi Zhenmin felt mixed emotions when he heard what He Tiantian said. Finally, Qi Zhenmin looked at He Tiantian and said quietly, Sister Tiantian, do you still remember Zhang Mengmeng? Zhang Mengmeng? He Tiantian was stunned and asked, I remember Zhang Mengmeng, a student at Nanji University. I once introduced her to part-time jobs, but why did you talk about her? My brother used to go to Sanfenqiao to buy things, and then he met Zhang Mengmeng. I also met Zhang Mengmeng, she was a good girl. My brother often went there, so it was probably interesting. Also, that time we went to the zoo, we seemed to see they started dating. After you came to Yanjing, they really started dating, Qi Zhenmin said slowly, a little regretful, a little confused, but more of a sigh. She is also trained in emotional intelligence. No love without pain. She just gave up. Although her heart hurt, as time passed, she was no longer as sad as before. Maybe she doesn't love deeply. It may also be that she is not dedicated to love. She let it go. But my brother just couldn't let go. It's good to fall in love, Grandma and Aunt Annie, Uncle Chi said, as long as the girl is good, she doesn't care about her family background, He Tiantian said, but I saw the twilight in your brother, but I didn't see the joy of love. Ah. Hey, it's because my brother couldn't let go before, Qi Zhenmin said, although I don't want to tell you, but Sister Tiantian, if you ask, then I will tell you. Anyway, you and your brother-in-law have a good relationship, so it won't affect your feelings. He Tiantian suddenly realized, feeling like he shot himself in the foot. Although she doesn't like Qi Zhengan, she can't control Qi Zhengan's right to like others. Hey, tell me, it's not a problem for this matter to continue. After all, in my heart, he is the same as my brother. If possible, I hope that brother Qi will come out with the same mood as you, He Tiantian said, sighing in her heart. Some things cannot be let go only by avoiding them. When I met Qi Zhengan before, I just felt that he was holding back his feelings, but now I saw that he was holding back less, but he was somewhat conflicted, hesitant, and even hesitant. He Tiantian had a feeling that Qi Zhengan's feelings were not because of her, but maybe because of other people. Well, I believe Sister Tiantian, Qi Zhenmin said. The person who tied the bell must also be tied. I hope Sister Tiantian can have good suggestions. Not long after you left Yanjing, my brother and Zhang Mengmeng established a relationship. Later I found that my brother was happier than before, and sometimes sang some Beatles songs, like a young man. I thought he had completely given up, but last month, my brother suddenly became depressed again. I asked my brother, but he didn't tell me. Later, I went to Zhang Mengmeng and told her that they had broken up. She said that she liked Teacher He. Teacher He, It's you. She also said that the reason why my brother likes her is because she is somewhat similar to you. He Tian was stunned. Jinmin, your brother is an idiot, he Tian scolded, a complete idiot, he can't even see his own heart clearly, and he can't bear the pain of love. Chi Jinmin frowned and said, Sister Tian, although you have the right to dislike my brother, although my brother likes you, he was rejected by you and did not bother you. Isn't it a bit too much for you to say that about my brother? He Tian glared at Chi Jinmin and said, you still said that you are a top student, why can't you even think about this matter? What can't you think about? Chi Jinmin asked in confusion. Sister Tian, please stop being so secretive and tell me directly. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 897. 895. He Tian already had some speculation in her mind. Furthermore, He Tian discovered from Qi Zhengan's eyes that the forbearance that Qi Zhengan had when he saw her before was gone, and only his unconvinced persistence remained. In this case, she would want to help. Zhenmin, Zhang Mengmeng and I look alike, He Tian asked. She didn't think Zhang Mengmeng looked much like her. Yet Shi Zhenmin nodded, there are indeed some similarities, maybe 3 or 4 points. But your personalities are different. Then, let's not talk about looks for now, He Tian said, think about it, when your brother was rejected by me before, he would be disappointed for a few days at most, but look at him now, he is not, I feel lost, simply depressed, doing things with only a breath of energy. Qi Zhenmin thought about it and thought so. Sister Tian, what you said seems to make sense, Qi Zhenmin nodded, by the way, I saw my brother was drunk a year ago. If you don't like that girl, why are you so sad? Think about it, has your brother ever been in love before? After the breakup, has he been as abnormal as he is now? He Tian asked, hoping that Qi Zhengan could find his love soon. Happiness. But now happiness is right in front of her, and she doesn't want Qi Zhengan to miss it? Qi Zhenmin thought about it seriously again, his eyes brightened, and he nodded, yes, my brother has been in love several times before. Every time we broke up, he was relieved and in high spirits. It has never been like this. Sister Tian, what you mean seems to be that my brother may really like Zhang Mengmeng, but he doesn't know his feelings. Well, that's it, He Tian said, think about it, if you didn't like it, why would you be so sad when we broke up? You must be feeling sad to be sad. I'm just in the past tense, maybe to your brother, my existence is the kind of thing that you can't get, and you just like it, and you feel good about it. But I used to notice that he was a little forbearing when he saw me, but he didn't do it this time. Only stubbornness. Ah, Qi Zhenmin was stunned and looked at He Tian curiously, Sister Tian, can you still sense this? He Tian also smiled. She didn't know when she had this ability. It might be a woman's sixth sense. Yes, I can sense it, He Tian said, your brother probably likes you, Zhang Mengmeng. In that case, let your brother return to Nanji as soon as possible so that they can resolve their misunderstanding and maybe they can be happy together. But I asked my brother before, and he said he didn't really like that girl and didn't want to delay her, Qi Zhenmin said, feeling that He Tian's feeling was not accurate. Hey, I can't bear to hurt you because I like you, He Tian said, think about it, when your brother is in love, does he think about hurting or not? It doesn't happen in foreign countries. After all, if a man likes a woman, if we see each other, we'll be together. If we don't like it, we'll separate. There aren't so many ideas. Girls abroad are also more open-minded. The education we have received since childhood, that is, I am the best. If you don't like me, someone will naturally like me. There is no need to force it, Qi Zhenmin said, the reason you mentioned may be that the environment at home and abroad is different. The environment is different, but your brother is still Qi Zhengan, not someone else, He Tian said. He is an adult, just a Qi Zhengan who doesn't know his feelings. The reason why he never forgets it may be because of his youth. Heartbroken, in fact, it is not love. Love is sweet. When your brother likes me, he is forbearing, disappointed, and even sad. But you also said that your brother was very happy when he was dating Jiang Mengmeng. Jiang Mengmeng can give your brother bring joy. If Jiang Mengmeng really likes your brother, then this is love, love. Sister Tian, I find what you said makes sense, Qi Zhenmin praised. Your point of view is that my brother likes Jiang Mengmeng, but he doesn't know his own feelings. Yes, He Tian nodded, I have been here before, and I am also a teacher. I have always used empathy to think about problems, so I believe in my own judgment and feelings. If you don't believe it, you can do an experiment. What experiment? Qi Zhenmin looked at He Tian curiously. How can you prove that my brother likes Jiang Mengmeng? He Tian thought for a while, and many scenes from previous idol dramas appeared in his mind. Although they were exaggerated, they also made some sense. If a man doesn't know his feelings, but when the person he likes in his heart is hurt, he will be very distressed. Sister Tian, tell me, Qi Zhenmin said, as long as you can let my brother come out and be happy, I will be grateful to you for the rest of my life. Then if I can't figure it out, won't you have to hate me for the rest of your life? He Tian asked, pinching Qi Zhenmin. You won't hold grudges, but I will always remember that my brother became like this because of you. Although intellectually I know that I shouldn't blame you, I still feel a little resentful emotionally, Qi Zhenmin said seriously, facing Tian's sister. She won't lie. Haha, if I were you, I would do the same thing. He Tian nodded. Okay, let's do an experiment. You say Jiang Mengmeng was in a car accident and broke his leg to see how your brother will react. If he leaves everything here and goes back to Nanxi, it will be enough to prove that he has her in his heart. Then what if my brother doesn't go back? Qi Zhenmin asked. Does it mean that my brother doesn't have her in his heart? Not necessarily, He Tian said. You also know that your brother is very stubborn and will not be able to get over it for a while, but if you really like someone and hear that she is hurt, even if you don't get over it immediately, you will still be there. Some abnormal symptoms, such as worry, anxiety, distraction, etc. After hearing this, Qi Zhenmin nodded repeatedly and said, okay, that's it. I'll do it tomorrow. What did you say? He Tian asked. It's empty talk. Your brother is so smart and can see through you at a glance. There are few phone calls at this time and the communication is too slow. If you don't think about it carefully, you can't let it go. Your brother believes it. For his brother, Qi Zhenmin can do anything. After thinking about it, he said, Sister Tian, you are right. If I tell her directly, she will not believe it. How about this? I forge a telegram. I sent a telegram because it was urgent. Writing letters is too slow and not suitable. Okay, but if we do this, will it affect your brother's work? He Tian asked. After all, car sales are also very important. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 898. 896. Qi Zhenmin's eyes lit up after thinking for a while, and he said, Sister Tian, I found that I am too prescient. As soon as I came here, I dominated you and worked with us. Even if my brother goes back, the two of us can survive. Gotta get up. Okay, even if it's for our work, I will work hard. He Tian said. Besides, I also hope that your brother can find his own happiness as soon as possible. Qi Zhengan is not only an upright person, but also the grandson of He Nation's most important grandma Qi San. She hopes that Qi Zhengan will have a good ending. Well, I hope so too, Qi Zhenmin said. Let my brother take care of the previous matters first, and then we will take over. He Tian smiled and said, you. But that's what I thought in my heart. Qi Zhengan and Huo Yingzhe play chess without saying a word, which was very boring. Huo Ruhua and Huo Ruimin were not willing to come over to watch the chess game. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the Qi brothers and sisters said goodbye. Qi Zhenmin got some inspiration from He Tian, so he carefully observed his brother and found that he was indeed different from before. Brother, do you really not like Zhang Mengmeng? Qi Zhenmin couldn't help but ask. Although I haven't known Zhang Mengmeng for a long time, I think she is a kind and strong girl. Such a good girl. In school, there are many suitors in her, so can you really let her be with other boys? Hearing this, Qi Zhengan's body froze. But then he got off the car and went directly into the hotel room without saying anything. Don't you care? Qi Zhengan asked himself, with such a bright smile on other men, and such a pleasant voice speaking love to other men. It did make him feel a little uncomfortable. After taking a shower, Qi Zhengan took out the goblet and red wine from the shelf and drank for himself. In the second half of last year, he and Zhang Mengmeng fell in love, and they were really in a good mood. Everything was fine originally, but Zhang Mengmeng asked him if he liked Teacher He. Teacher Ho? The Teacher He in Zhang Mengmeng's mouth is He Tian. He was stunned for a moment, but he nodded and said he liked it. Zhang Mengmeng was disappointed, but after careful decision, she wanted to break up with him. Separate. He was rejected for the first time. No, it shouldn't be the first time I was rejected, but the second time. The first time was rejected by He Tian. It's just that Zhang Mengmeng's rejection this time was different from He Tian's last rejection, because he had an unrequited love for He Tian, and He Tian didn't like him. But Zhang Mengmeng liked him. Why did she break up with him? Just because he said he liked He Tian? Yes, that's probably the reason. She was a stubborn little girl. How could she tolerate her boyfriend liking someone else? Even when facing Zhang Mengmeng's inquiry, Qi Zhengan thought that he liked He Tian. But this time, when he came here and saw He Tian again, the anticipation and throbbing in his heart were not as strong as before. This feeling made him panic. At the same time, the mood is dull. He didn't know why. Is it because of Huo Yingzhe? Qi Zhengan thought of the man who played chess with him for 2 hours and never talked to him for more than 3 sentences. Very annoying. Keep quiet and pretend to be serious. But in Huo Yingzhe's heart, Qi Zhengan was also a supporter of Qi Zhengan, who was not good at talking and deserved to suffer so many emotional setbacks. Qi Zhengan unknowingly drank almost a bottle of wine and felt dizzy. In a daze, he seemed to see He Tian, but He Tian's appearance became lighter and lighter, but he turned into Zhang Mengmeng again. They walked along the tree-lined path. They visited various scenic spots in Nanji. Even though Zhang Mengmeng is not from Nanji, he consulted a lot of information in order to let him know the places of interest in Nanji. They have been eating all kinds of delicacies in Nanji. There are many places he will never go to. Her smiles are becoming more and more beautiful. After that, Qi Zhengan was confused and found someone on the sofa, with a smile on his face because of the beauty in his dream. Early the next morning, when Qi Zhenmin came to look for his brother, he found him sleeping on the sofa smelling of alcohol. Brother, are you drinking again? Qi Zhenmin asked hurriedly. Why don't you take care of your body so much? Grandma, if my parents knew about it, how heartbroken they would be. It's okay. I was thinking about something yesterday and drank a little more, Qi Zhengan said. I figured out some things, so I indulged a little. Qi Zhenmin was stunned and asked in a low voice, Brother, what do you want to understand? Haha, you are still young, you don't need to know. Qi Zhengan rubbed his sister's head and refused to tell her about his feelings. After the matter is settled, Qi Zhengan wants to leave as soon as possible, return to Nanji, and make it clear to Jiang Mengmeng. He wants to have a serious love and get along with Jiang Mengmeng for the purpose of getting married. Qi Zhenmin was behind Qi Zhengan, wondering if he should advance that matter. Forget it, let's wait. After all, the career here is very important. If my brother and Jiang Mengmeng are destined to be together, they will still be together. Sister Tian Tian and her brother-in-law took advantage of it for 10 years before they reached a certain level. It is said that it has been privately decided for life since childhood. It's indeed a bit early. Qi Zhengan took a shower, changed clothes, and went down to have breakfast with Qi Zhenmin, hoping to deal with the Yanjing matter as soon as possible and return to Nanxi as soon as possible. Qi Zhengan took Qi Zhenmin to visit the Huo family's old home, and Huo Yingjun personally received them at home. During this time, the old man of the Tang family has been hanging around Mr. Huo. On the one hand, he wants to get close to the Huo family and get close to the Huo family. On the other hand, he also wants to see why the Huo family can live a prosperous life. Mr. Tang came from a literary background. Although he had fought in wars when he was young, he mostly did the work of chief of staff. He claimed to be a smart man, but he found that he could not compare with Mr. Huo, a rough man. This puzzled him. On this day, the Qi family brothers and sisters came to visit. After Mr. Tang finished playing this game of chess, he went back. I vaguely heard about car sales in Nanjing. It seemed that they were coming to Yanjing to sell cars. He doesn't know much about business, but he knows that there are many bicycles now, but with the economic reform policy of Mr. Wang getting rich first and then getting rich later, many people will become rich. When people have money, they just want to improve their food, clothing, housing, and transportation. The first three have all been improved, okay, of course they need to be improved. Bicycles, replaced by cars. Right, that is it. Mr. Tang felt aggrieved when he thought that his son had become a pauper after the divorce. It's just that there are some things that you want to gain but must lose. Only by giving up can you gain. Although my son doesn't like to talk recently, he smiles more than before. He goes home to eat every day and spends time with the old couple, which is much better than before. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 899. 897. So during lunch, Mr. Tang said to his son, who had been eating silently, Ziasi, are you interested in the car business? Hey, the car business is very promising, but imported cars are too expensive. I have no capital, no overseas purchase channels, and the domestic economic level. It is not profitable to do it now. If I wait until 5 years in the end, maybe it will be possible to operate it, Tang Qian said with emotion, thinking of the Big Ben that he had spent so much effort on. Now it has become someone else's, which makes me feel depressed just thinking about it. The fourth young master of the Tang family can only ride a bicycle or walk when traveling. I'm used to driving, and walking or riding a bicycle is really unaccustomed. Imported cars are expensive, but what about domestically produced cars? Mr. Tang smiled slightly. He heard some information at noon. After coming back, he searched for some information and did some understanding. Only then did he remember that Huo Jekan was in Nanji. Among the investment projects, there is a very large project and a joint venture automobile project. It's been 2 or 3 years, and it's time for cars to come out. It's not like you don't know about domestic cars. Those manufacturers are too proud of themselves and don't want to make progress. Those cars are uncomfortable to sit on and the prices are not cheap. The key is that you can't buy them if you have money. Tang Qian, I don't have a good impression of those old car manufacturers. Where is the joint venture car factory? Mr. Tang asked again. He had already mentioned this, and his son still reacted. He had some doubts about his son's business acumen. Tang Qian was a little curious after hearing this. He didn't know that his father had asked this question without any explanation, but he also thought about his father's nickname Tang Fox. He always spoke and did things in a roundabout way. Sometimes others didn't think carefully. Don't even know what he is talking about. Tang Qian said nothing. His son carefully savored his father's words, and then filtered out domestic car-related matters. Suddenly the answer came to me in joint venture. Dad, are you talking about the investment project in Nanjing? It was the largest project that year, worth hundreds of millions of dollars, Tang Qian said. Dad, why do you ask this? Mr. Tang was very pleased to hear his son say this. He was a businessman and he did not disappoint him. Huo Yingjia's father, Huo Jekan, is in charge of economics in Nanxi City and recruited this project. I was playing chess at Lao Huo's house today and saw two young people coming to visit and talking to Huo Yingjun about car sales and investment. I thought about it when I came back. It's just that joint venture cars should be coming out. You've been looking for a good project, so I'll tell you about it. If you're interested, you can learn more about it, Mr. Tang explained. He said everything he needed to say. Yes, whether he can do it or not depends on his son's ability. Tang Qian's eyes lit up, he nodded and said, Father, no wonder people say that having an old man in the family is like having a treasure. It's amazing that you can infer so much based on a few words from others. I have so much to learn. Haha, it's just Xiao Oil, Mr. Tang said. They are here to attract investment, but after all, they are factories in Nanjing. There is local protectionism in Yanjing, so they need strong local forces. This matter please, the first brother of the Huo family should take care of policy matters. I think other matters will fall on the second brother of the Huo family. Father, doesn't that mean there is nothing wrong with our Tang family? Tang Qian asked anxiously. Mr. Tang squinted his eyes, looked at his son, and said seriously, although I can give you some advice, sometimes you still need to think for yourself. Don't be anxious, think about it slowly, and then tell me if there is a chance. Why? Will there be a chance for our Tang family? Tang Qian was embarrassed by his father. He seemed to be too dependent on his father. Thinking of this, Tang Qian calmed down and thought carefully. After a while, Tang Qian finally figured it out and said, Father, I think I know the reason why you ended up in the second room of the Huo family, but our Tang family may be able to get some opportunities. Okay, tell me, I'll listen carefully, Mr. Tang said, looking at his son, hoping that his son would not disappoint him. First of all, the eldest brother of the Huo family all pursues official careers. Business has a great influence on them, so it will fall on the second brother of the Huo family. However, this project is personally presided over by Huo Jekan, and Huo Yingjia is also a civil servant. This matter it will fall on He Tian. After all, He Tian's grandmother has a stake in this project. She participated in it and did not suffer any loss to the second house of the Huo family. Secondly, as far as I know, He Tian she is a university teacher, has her own job, and runs her own shop. She is already very busy, so her energy is limited and she must cooperate with other capable people in the local area. Not bad, are there any more? Mr. Tang smiled and nodded. Finally, I am the only one in our Tang family who is in business, and I am very successful and capable. Our Tang family is also one of the few in Yanjing. At the same time, because of that incident before, we had a very good attitude, and the Huo family the relationship is closer. With such conditions, I can take the initiative to cooperate. But you have no money now, Mr. Tang asked, do you have any solution? Although money is an important factor, the connections, strength, and my talents, as long as I am sincere, I believe they will give me a chance, Tang Qian said. Although I had no money before, the 500,000 lent to Wei Ning was returned to me yesterday with interest. With this money, I can definitely take over the distribution in Yanjing and even surrounding areas. Ah! When did you lend money to Wei Ning? Mr. Tang asked, Why didn't I know? Tang Qian smiled and said with emotion, fortunately, I lent Wei Ning 500,000, otherwise I would really have no money now. The year before last, Wei Ning said that the fur business at Laomazi's place was good, so he took over. I exchanged some of the old extruded light industrial products in China for a lot of things and made a lot of money, so I was given 600,000 yuan back, and I finally had some money in my hand. Haha, that's it. Mr. Tang nodded and said, okay, you go ahead. I was also thinking that if you don't have any money, we still have some things at home. You can mortgage them or sell them to make capital. Tang Qian was moved in his heart. Those things were his father's favorites. In order for him to make a comeback, he actually thought of selling those things. Hey, why did he think his father was disgusting before? What a bastard, he is obviously a good father. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 900. 898. Seeing his son's expression, Mr. Tang was very proud. Sample, I finally found a way to deal with your kid. Eat soft food rather than hard food. Father, those are the things you like, so you should keep them well. I have my own way to deal with money matters, Tang Qian said. When my son makes money, he will buy you whatever you like. Take care of it, be filial to you. Okay, then I'll wait for you to get rich, Mr. Tang said. He didn't care much about eating and drinking, but he just liked playing with antiques, calligraphy and paintings. He is also an expert in the industry and has acquired some treasures over the years. My son keeps his word, Tang Qian said, hoping that through his own efforts, he could honor his parents and never let them worry about him again. Seeing his son like this, Mr. Tang finally reminded him, Tang Qian, it's okay to do business, and sometimes it's allowed to use some means and power, but you have to remember, you can't be unreasonable, you can't bully others, and you can't be arrogant. A life-threatening lawsuit. At their level, there are some methods that everyone acquiesces to. After all, most people are like this. If you don't do this, you just don't fit in with the crowd and will be ostracized. However, being involved in a life-threatening lawsuit could be concealed for a while, but not forever. You must know that there is no airtight wall in the world, especially in a high position like theirs. As long as you don't want to check, there is no secret that cannot be found. When you are in power, you may be able to escape sanctions, but once you lose power, or you block the way of a larger force, those things will be exposed, and you will be hit with one hit. Even if you don't take the bullet, you will probably go to jail. This is the bottom line issue. It is also the basic principle of life saving. Yes, Father, there are business rules and systems in business. I won't do anything to harm people's lives, so don't worry. Tang Qian had been working outside for several years, so he naturally understood what his father meant. This was also the reason why he wasn't angry when Tian blocked him and scolded him. You have to fight for it, but don't do things that offend others. That's good. If there's anything that can't be solved, you can ask your brother and sister for help, Mr. Tang said, but if you want to win this business, you'd better get closer to the second wife of the Huo family. Well, I went to apologize last time. I'm going to take some time to bring something and visit Huo Yingjia, Tang Qian said. Although He Tian may be the one in charge, Huo Yingjia is He Tian's husband. With his former reputation as a playboy, if he went directly to He Tian and was misunderstood, wouldn't he offend the Huo family and lose such a good opportunity? The first time he met He Tian, he was amazed. When I saw him for the second time, I had some ideas. But later, Tang Qian understood that He Tian was not someone he could touch if he wanted to, and he could only feel comfortable getting along with her. Furthermore, now he has figured it out, women, as long as they are rich and powerful, what kind of woman is not there? Now I'm thinking about making a comeback. As for women, I'll wait until my career is stable before looking for her. After that, Tang Qian began to collect information and asked around, and found out that the person coming was none other than Qi Zhengan and Qi Zhenmin, the largest shareholders of Fuxi Automobile. Tang Qian also found out that He Tiantian was also helping. Although he didn't see those cars, with the joint ventures technology, it shouldn't be too bad. The most important thing is that you can buy it if you have money. No need for those messy proofs. Wanting to understand these things, Tang Qian brought 2 bottles of his father's special gift, then rode his 38 big bar bicycle to Maohutong. Huo Yingzhe was in the yard, using crutches to move his body and joints. 2 children were playing games while he watched. Grandma Wang had nothing to do, helping to choose vegetables. She looked up from time to see the 2 children not far away. Yingzhe, what are Tian busy these days? Grandma Wang asked. Last semester, although He Tian also had to go to class and shop, she spent a lot of time at home. This semester, there are also 3 days of classes a week, but Tian has been busy outside, and sometimes she doesn't go home to eat dinner. Huo Yingzhe was also a little depressed. He regretted supporting He Tian to become a car dealer. But his objections were ineffective, those shares were already sweet. Huo Yingzhe understood that in He Tian's heart, he was very protective of his own things and must do a good job. It's okay to make money, but making He Tian lose money is more painful than cutting off flesh. Haha, it's just a business matter, Huo Yingzhe said. I can't help, thank her for the trouble. Yes, this girl Tian is hardworking and hardworking. Our family's life is so good, thanks to Tian, Grandma Wang said. Just working, life can't be so good. With only dead wages, the family's food expenses are not enough. Huo Yingzhe affirmed this point. However, with the Huo family here, He Tian can do business with confidence and boldness. As long as he operates with integrity, there will never be any problems. None of the various government departments will come to cause trouble, let alone ruffians and hooligans. While Huo Yingzhe and Grandma Wang were talking, someone rang the doorbell at the door of Huo's house. Lao Guo, who was cleaning the yard, quickly went to see the door. Seeing a young man outside, he asked, "Comrade, who are you looking for?" Tang Qian smiled and asked politely, "Hello, uncle, is Huo Yingzhe at home?" "My name is Tang Qian, and I just wanted to talk to him about something." Seeing that Tang Qian didn't look like a bad guy, Lao Guo said, "Wait a minute. My husband is not in good health and is recuperating at home. Let me ask you first to see if it's convenient for me to see you." Lao Guo opened the door and let Tang Qian in first. There is a small room next to it, specifically for people to wait and sit. The interior is elegantly decorated, with fruits and magazines on the side. Hey, the Huo family's family rules have become the norm. At the very least, he was willing to wait here. I hope today's trip will not be in vain. Lao Guo entered the second door, found Huo Yingzhe and said, "Sir, there is a man named Tang Qian outside who wants to see you. If you don't want to see you, I will tell you to rest and let him come back another day." Huo Yingzhe raised his eyebrows, a little curious. "Tang Qian? Didn't this person apologize? Why are you still coming? Anyway, it's okay now." Huo Yingzhe nodded and said, "Okay, let him in." Huo Yingzhe stopped moving and sat on the stone bench. The stone bench was covered with thick cushions and there was a tablecloth on the stone table. Tang Qian followed Lao Guo and walked in. "Yingzhe, hello," Tang Qian said with a smile. Although Tang Qian is younger than Huo Yingzhe, he is 1 generation higher than Huo Yingzhe. He is the same generation as Huo Zheqian and Huo Zheqin, so it is normal to call Huo Yingzhe by his name. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 901. 899. Huo Yingzhe looked at the person who came and said with a smile, "Fourth uncle, why are you here when you have time?" Tang Qian was a little embarrassed, but when he thought of the great opportunity, he smiled and said, "Haha, you asked me that, so I won't talk in circles anymore. I will go to the Three Treasures Hall for everything. If there is anything, I will tell you directly." "Say it," Huo Yingzhe said. Even if he said it, he might not be able to help you. He still remembered that Tang Qian was a wanderer. "I heard that Fuxi Automobile in Nanxi has started production and is now looking for dealers. I am looking for new projects recently, so when I heard the news, I came over to inquire," Tang Qian said. "In fact, it is time to inquire. I have already inquired about it, and I just came to say hello and network, hoping to get the distribution rights." "So that's what happened. What advantages do you have?" Huo Yingzhe asked. Tang Qian made a lot of money in his life, but he was destined to have bad luck and was entangled with many women throughout his life. However, it doesn't matter, it's good to be capable. When Tang Qian heard this, his eyes lit up. "There is a door. Yingzhe, look, I know how to do business. I was able to run those businesses very well before, which is enough to prove my ability," Tang Qian said, "and compared to others, I also have connections in Yanjing, and also familiar with business rules." Huo Yingzhe thought for a while, nodded and said, "You are indeed very capable. You are a talent. Everyone knows it." "Haha, thank you." Tang Qian did not dare to show off in front of Huo Yingzhe. "My previous business was given to my ex-wife, and I don't want to do anything related to her, so I want to find a new project." However, Huo Yingzhe agreed with Tang Qian's approach. "Since it was broken, let it be broken cleanly. Oh, with your ability, you can definitely find the parties involved in these projects," Huo Yingzhe said. "The Qi family is in Yanjing." "Haha, although the Qi family is a party involved, I also know that your wife is also a party involved, and maybe the person in charge of Yanjing," Tang Qian said. "You are He Tianation's husband, and my reputation before was not good. Before looking for He Tian, I always have to talk to you first to avoid misunderstanding." Still somewhat self-aware. "Haha, you have thought clearly," Huo Yingzhe smiled. Compared with the Qi family who went to see the Qi family rashly, the Qi family would not look at Tang Qian in a different light because of their relationship with the Tang family. They would still treat them equally among dozens of partners. However, starting from He Tianation's side, it would be different. Perhaps it can be said that as long as He Tian is persuaded, you will get twice the result with half the effort. After all, this is an important dealer and must be approved by He Tian. He Tian will also be in charge of it in the future. On the contrary, the Qi family will return to Nanxi after finishing these things. I want to find a good project, and we know each other, so I want to come over and give it a try," Tang Qian said. "Yingzhe, if you agree, can you recommend some?" If Huo Yingzhe is unwilling, Tang Qian can only find another way. Huo Yingzhe thought about it and realized that He Tian was very busy now, so he nodded and said, "Okay, you can stay for dinner, and talk to Tian about your thoughts and preparations later. As for whether you can help the distributor, businessmen must also pass the assessment." "Thank you," Tang Qian said with a smile, a little impatient. "I will definitely work hard, thank you Yingzhe." Huo Yingzhe smiled and said, "You're welcome." The two began to talk about other things, but they were also able to have a good time. He Tian came back early today, thinking that she hadn't eaten with her family for several days. When she got home, her child went to bed. Hey, career is important, but family is also important. When He Tian was driving home, she always wondered if she could find a helper. Let the helper do the work, just look at the general direction and don't do trivial things. When I got home, I saw a guest at home. When I took a closer look, I saw that it was Tang Qian. A guest is coming to the house, He Tian smiled and said, haha, fourth young master Tang, why do you have time to come to my house? By the way, I heard yesterday that your former sweetheart Ning Huiwei went to film a movie. What did you do? Aren't you going to send it off? He Tian doesn't have a good impression of promiscuous relationships between men and women. Haha, niece-in-law, it was all my fault in the past, and I have changed my ways. Now I have divorced my ex-wife and left the house. After all, Ning Huiwei has had an easy time with me. Although she has some small thoughts, we can't ignore her, break up with her, and give her some help with her career. From now on, we can go our separate ways, Tang Qian explained nonchalantly. Thinking about it now makes him panic. In front of the juniors, I lost all face. But in order to win a new project, I have to win it shamelessly. Hey, what you do is your right, just don't involve other people, He Tian said. Fourth young master Tang, you are a busy man and don't go to the Three Treasures Hall for anything. What do you want from my Yingzhi? Finish speaking quickly and leave quickly. Tang Qian was embarrassed, and said with a smile, Tian, I made mistakes before, and I have corrected myself. Today I came here, on the one hand, to visit Yingzhi, on the other hand, I want to come and cooperate with you. Cooperation, He Tian was surprised, have you taken a liking to my braised meat shop? Studio. Tang Qian smiled, handed over a document bag and said, this is the material I prepared, you can take a look. He Tian took it, opened it, and took a look, and was stunned again. This, you want to be the dealer of Fuxi automobile? He Tian asked in surprise, looking at it and asking. Tang Qian nodded and said, yes, there is my plan. He Tian didn't make a sound, but continued to look down. He Tian is no longer the owner of a small braised meat shop in his previous life. After several years of tempering, he has become a shrewd businessman. Although this business is not big, it is enough to train He Tian. He Tian read the information carefully, raised her head and asked, Uncle Fourth, where did you get the 500,000 here? Didn't you clean up and leave the house? After hearing this, Tang Qian was stunned for a moment and said with a smile, Tang Qian, keep my word. All my property after marriage was indeed given to my ex-wife. As for this 500,000, I lent it to a friend before I got married. He did it, the business was only returned to me recently. This money should not be included in the division. That's it, He Tian smiled, my fourth uncle is indeed a successful businessman, otherwise he would not be able to do better business. I just saw that your plan is good. As for the location, I am very satisfied with Yanjing doesn't know, let's go take a look together when we have time. By the way, if you are free tomorrow, I can introduce you to the Qi family, and we can have a good talk then. Tang Qian came here for nothing more than this matter. He Tian and Tang Qian don't have such a good relationship. The reason why they can do this is because the plan is very exciting. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Qi Xing Cao. Chapter 902. 900. He Tian also feels that Tang Qian is a good business partner. She cannot be biased against Tang Qian's business talents because of his personal life, causing Fuxi Automobile to lose a good partner. Thank you so much, niece-in-law, Tang Qian said with a smile. From He Tian's change of title, it can be seen that her view of him has changed somewhat. Tang Qian is a shrewd man, and he understands that in He Tian's eyes, he is an out-and-out bastard. Just because he has some talent in business and the relationship between the two families, he has been approached by many people and has to give face. You're welcome, He Tian said, anyway, it's just an introduction. Whether it succeeds or not is not something I can decide. Aunt Guo prepared the meal and said, Tian, the meal is ready, can we start dinner now? Okay, I'm just hungry. He Tian smiled and said nothing to persuade Tang Qian to stay. Now that the matter has been discussed, Tang Qian can't stay here for dinner. Okay, now that we've finished talking, I'll go back first. Tang Qian said. By the way, Tian, when will we meet tomorrow? Where will we meet? At the International Hotel, 9 o'clock. He Tian said and asked Tang Qian to go there directly. Huo Yingzhi saw that He Tian was a little impatient with Tang Qian. Thinking about the recent alliance between the Huo family and the Tang family, he smiled and said, "It's already dinner time. The fourth uncle should go back after eating. If he is grandpa knows that if you come to my house and don't leave any food at dinner time, you will probably say that I am ignorant." The Huo family also gave full respect to the Tang family. Although Mr. Tang is good at calculating, he has never done anything to the Huo family, and he has also quietly given some help to the Huo family. This is not only because Mr. Huo saved his life before, but also because Mr. Tang rarely has grudges with others. Belongs to the kind of people who just want to get promoted and make a fortune. The Li family is probably the family that the Tang family has offended the most. But even if they divorced, the Li family got important resources from the Tang family, and also got all of Tang Qian's net worth, which was enough to make up for all the rights and wrongs of the Tang family. Therefore, the reputation of the Tang family has recently recovered somewhat due to these two incidents. When He Tian saw Huo Yingzhi speaking, it was hard to chase him away. Furthermore, He Tian didn't understand things on a personal level, but she also knew that it was best not to offend others, especially when others were in dire straits. Tang Qian is quite depressed now, but the Tang family is still there, and a comeback is just around the corner. Even if we don't cooperate with Fuxi Automobile, there will definitely be other projects. Young uncle, please don't be polite. Yingzhi, please take your fourth uncle to the dining room first, and I will help serve the dishes. He Tian greeted, leaving aside Tang Qian's things about sesame seeds and rotten millet. He also treated the guests who came to the door. I can't help but invite you to dinner. Tang Qian was hoping to get involved with He Tian and Huo Yingzhi. How could he let such a good opportunity pass? Haha, I'm really hungry. Tang Qian said, I feel even hungrier when I smell the fragrance coming from the kitchen. Thank you Yingzhi, it's sweet. He Tian smiled and said, you're welcome. Huo Yingzhi greeted Tang Qian, and He Tian arranged the two children to sit on chairs, put their mouths around their mouths, and let them eat by themselves. Tang Qian was delighted when he saw the two children with bulging mouths. Hey, Yingzhi, I'm 1 year younger than you, and your son and daughter are so old. I'm really envious. Tang Qian said with emotion. If he and Li Gongru fell in love and got married, maybe they would be so happy. What has happened in the past, who knows what it will be like to do it again. Huo Yingzhi looked at his son, daughter, and wife dotingly, and said, actually, you can find a woman you love deeply, start a family, have children, and have a harmonious family. Having a peaceful home will also help your career, right? After hearing this, Tang Qian smiled bitterly and said, Yingzhi, I won't tell lies in front of you and Tian. I don't know what's going on. It's difficult to be affectionate and long-term towards a woman. In fact, every time I'm with a girl, I think it's the last one, but I don't know why, but after a while I get tired of it. In fact, I really don't want to hurt them. When He Tian heard this, her face almost turned black. She was a complete scumbag. If it weren't for the relationship between the two families, He Tian would have really wanted to take away Tang Qian's job and tell Tang Qian to get out. Lest such an irresponsible and carefree person lead Huo Yingzhi astray. Huo Yingzhi looked at Tang Qian and realized that the peach blossoms on his face were not natural. Is there some artificial factor? However, Huo Yingzhi was too lazy to resolve the peach blossom evil for Tang Qian. Didn't they say before that you are destined to fall in love? Maybe you are. Although Huo Yingzhi didn't help, he still wanted to remind him to form a good relationship. Peach Blossom evil? Tang Qian was stunned and asked, Yingzhe, do you still believe this? Isn't that feudal superstition? Huo Yingzhe was filled with disdain. He just didn't believe it. He also said that feudal superstition deserved his life. You also said that you didn't mean it, and you didn't mean to hurt them. At the same time, you also wanted to have a long-term love, He Tian said, but you did do these things. Afterwards, I feel that this is not your intention, but it is too late. It was like this once, and it was like this twice. If it is not the legendary De Hua, it is because you are a sentimental person, and you still don't admit it. He Tian's words are very sharp. Tang Qian was stunned again, and then he smiled bitterly and said, in order to prove that I am not a scumbag, I have to find a famous master to help me. Haha, you asked for it yourself, we were just talking. He Tian smiled. Others didn't believe it, but she did. Huo Yingzhe asked some other questions, and he and Tang Qian had a pleasant conversation. After eating and resting for a few minutes, Tang Qian said goodbye and left. After Tang Qian left, He Tian had something hidden in her heart and asked cautiously, Brother Yingzhe, why did you just say that Tang Qian was destined to fall in love? Huo Yingzhe smiled and said, his face does have a hint of loveliness, and I took a closer look just now. Tang Qian may have some emotional entanglements with Jinmin. If he doesn't get rid of his loveliness, he will be sad in the future. It's Jinmin. Jinmin, He Tian was stunned. Although Qi Jinmin was not her biological sister, she was pretty much the same. Yes, Huo Yingzhe said with a smile, if Jinmin didn't come to Yanjing, it would be fine, but she happened to come, with some changes in her face, like a red Luan star moving. Only when I saw Tang Qian today did I know the target of the action is Tang Qian. No. Absolutely not, He Tian said excitedly, I want to take Tang Qian to see Zhengan and Jinmin tomorrow, but I didn't expect that the person I sent was not a partner, but a big bad wolf who wanted to take away Little Red Riding Hood. And he's also a big bad wolf. Huo Yingzhe smiled, knowing that He Tian would be nervous.